Hey everyone, welcome to our third podcast.
This is so funny.
The reason Matt is laughing right now is because we've had so many issues with recording. Every week there seems to be something.
Yeah.
Honestly,
we thought tonight was just going to start on
I'm ready
time
to
and
go.
It was going to be great.
I'm ready to hang up.
Yeah.
I know.
And then
exhausted.
we've just spent an hour. It was just a new issue after new issue, but we are finally recording.
Yeah.
So yeah,
We are here
just a
now.
bit crazy right now. We are here. And how's everyone's week been?
Yeah, good. Well, I got a new laptop today, which is
Amazing.
amazing, and set it all up so it's much, much better than my old one. My old one was like 10 years old. It was actually Dad's.
Yes, so we don't have the fear of it crashing on us.
We don't
which is
have the
very
fear of
good.
it crashing. However, I've just had many issues with an old pair of earphones, so that's my next thing to sort out. But other than that, yeah, good. The boys enjoyed the snow this morning.
Oh, is it snowing a lot there?
A lot. Yeah, we had a lot.
Matt, we've had snow today. Have you not
Yeah,
seen?
we've had snow. We've had snow, but not like you
Today
couldn't
we've
make
had
a
snow, and
snowball.
it has. Yeah, but it has set. I had a little bit of a snowball fight, a tiny one. It was more of a sprinkle fight, but it was still something.
Flicking snow at each other.
Yeah, the boys were out in it for a while, so that was good. But we couldn't really make a snowman because it wasn't like it wouldn't stick together. You know, it was so soft.
Yeah,
We couldn't make a snowman.
Yeah. Well, you don't get snow like you used to, eh?
No.
Not these days.
No.
Not with global warming.
No.
Bring a bit of politics in.
Oh.
But yeah, we're just hoping that we're going to make it through this podcast with no issues today. So that's the main thing that's going
I
on.
know. Well, we started
always
an hour
something.
later than we planned. So that's the
Mhm.
first issue. So let's hope the rest
Yeah.
is okay. But it's good to see you guys.
yeah.
Yes, we're very excited to be doing our third episode. Just for the listeners to know, and I guess you guys as well, I have been uploading on a Sunday, but I'm thinking to bring it forward for a Friday so that it gives the listeners more time to communicate with us, because we actually record this on a Monday, so we only have that one day. So just so you listeners
To
know,
get your feedback
I might
in
be
really
bringing-
quick.
yeah, we want to get a bit more interaction.
So for those of you who thought your Fridays were boring and you didn't have anything to look forward to, that is about to change.
Exactly.
Totally.
Friday nights have just got a bit crazy. They just got wild.
They just got exciting.
I know
again.
what I'm doing on Fridays from now on.
So do you guys want to start with the stories?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm first this week.
Ali is first. And Ali, what is your story going to be about?
Okay, so this week I have a ghost story.
Okay, so I am very nervous. So last week I said I was going to do a ghost story, but the reason I didn't actually end up doing one is because when I started to research, it was nighttime. And I was like, I cannot start looking up ghost stories right now. So I couldn't do it.
Oh,
so
I thought
am
you had
slightly
one.
worried about this.
I thought you
I
had
do
one
have
on your
one, but I
mind
haven't
because you.
researched it. No, I do. There's one in particular, but when I started looking into it, it was giving me the creeps. So, Ali, yes, I am nervous, but let's hear it
Take
and
it away.
see how we go.
Okay, so this week.
Me and Bex actually, we're not even going to listen to it. So
Yeah.
this one's
Yes, you
just
are.
for the listeners.
Just for you guys.
This,
We just pretend, we'll just go, ooh, in the background. So
Yeah.
We'll just edit some
Hope
in.
it fits
great,
in.
way.
great for me.
Yeah.
Okay, so this week I got most of my information from a website called Rancar.com
Mm-hmm.
and My Favourite Murder episode 137. So I will begin. It's 1986 in a suburb called Pepperell in the USA. The Andrews family, Father Brian and his two daughters, Annie, 15, and Jessica, 8, they've just lost their mother to cancer. So it's a really sad and hard time for them. Brian is a bus driver and he's working really hard at keeping the family together. The girls spend loads of time alone in the house due to their dad being out at work. One night, the phone rings and it's a boy calling for Annie. He says his name is Danny, that he goes to a different school, but he got her number from a mutual friend of theirs. He describes himself. He's tall, blonde, athletic. They have a long conversation. They're getting on really well. And this happens a couple of times. They have a couple really nice conversations on the phone. And Danny asks her on a date to the local fair.
Let me just say, I do know this story, and this is a really good one.
Yeah,
so yes,
I knew you knew it.
This is
because
really
I kept
good.
saying to you, listen to it, listen to it, listen
you
to
kept telling me to. Yeah.
So the day comes and there's a ring at the doorbell. When Annie opens the door, there is a short, non-athletic, dark-haired boy covered in acne. Annie
is this me?
You've never had acne in your life, so Annie is a little weirded out as he looks nothing like he described himself on the phone, but she tries to be nice and she doesn't want to cancel, so she goes on the date. Annie starts getting weird vibes almost straight away from Danny. When she tells him that her mum recently died from cancer, he suddenly perks up and starts asking her loads of questions. He's way too curious about her mum's cancer and about Annie losing her. And he asks some really inappropriate questions, like exactly how she felt at the moment she found out her mum died.
Yeah, that's so
He makes a
weird.
joke. Yeah, he makes a joke about her mum and she just has enough and is like, bye, this date is over. And she goes home.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Really,
oh my gosh.
yeah, like good for her for just being like, no.
What? Yeah.
So the date lasted like an hour. So again, the sisters are home alone. They're home alone a lot because, you know, their dad's working really hard. And one night they decide to do a
Sorry. How old were the girls, sorry?
So they're 15 and 8.
Okay, yeah, go on.
So one night they decide to do a seance to try and contact their mum.
What? Why is that so casual?
Well,
That's like one
we
night
all
they
do
decide to
seance
watch
once a
movie
week.
or something.
I do a seance every Friday here.
What?
No, I'd never do a seance. I'm joking. I'll be too scared to do that.
Can I just remind you two and tell the listeners, though, when we were younger, Ali was really into stuff like this, and they said they were doing a Ouija board, but really you just wrote on a piece of paper, "Hello, ghost," or what did you?
Yeah, we threw it in the cupboard and ran away.
Oh my god!
They threw it in this cupboard. What did you? But the cupboard was like a Sixth Sense cupboard. That's what was creepy.
It was like a cupboard, but it was also a gap within the wall that went all the way down to like the second floor. But it was like
in our house. Sorry,
but it was like insulated. So we put a paper in there saying "Hello, ghost," and we thought we might get a reply because we were sure our house was haunted. It was an old Victorian house, but we never got a reply anyway. But our mum was sure she saw a ghost in that house.
That scared me so much. I remember whenever I had to walk past that cupboard, I would get the chills. I would run, and I was terrified. I really hated you guys for doing that because I was scared for life.
I feel like we had friends round. That's
we did.
Yeah,
it was a couple of your mates.
I don't feel like I was old enough to have had much of an input in that. I think Ali was the ringleader.
Oh God,
yeah, Ali was. But Ali, you did do a Ouija board.
Well,
your dad walked in?
One time when I was young, I was like 10 or something. I was with my friends in my room and we decided to do a Ouija board. So what we did, we got those foam alphabet letters you get and you can stick them around the bath for little kids. So we got a whole load of those and we put them in a circle on a carpet, bear in mind. So nothing could even move, like the friction. Put something in the middle. So we all started to say stuff and, you know, our dad comes upstairs and he opens the door and he's like, what are you doing? He looks really worried and upset. So I was like, oh, sorry, you know, and then he had a word with me later about how it's really not a good idea to do that. And it put me off for life. So
yes, don't play around with Ouija boards.
No,
people.
Not a good idea. So,
but yeah, let's get back to the story.
Yeah. So they try and contact their mum. They go into the attic and they light some candles. They're chanting, you know, they're doing everything they think they need to do for a seance. They start to get a weird feeling like something's actually happening. They feel like it's really working. And then their dad comes home. He comes up to the attic and he's like, what are you doing? Get out of the attic now, you know?
Yeah.
This is the exact same story you just told
it's
about
basically the same as what happened with me. Not long after the girls have the seance, they start to hear noises in the house when they're home by themselves. Tapping and knocking. They try to find where the noises come from, but they always stop. The noises become more frequent and more insistent. One night the tapping goes on and on and on. The girls are starting to get really scared at this point.
I would be freaking out.
I know, I would be as well. I would
be out of the house.
They also start noticing things going missing. They'll put something down and the next minute it's been moved. One night they prepared popcorn, and when they went to get it, the bowl with the popcorn was gone. Things would go missing, furniture would move, and soon the girls thought that something much more sinister than the ghost of their mother was inhabiting their home. They didn't know how right they were. So stuff. Matt's scared. Matt, you're so scared. Are you okay?
Matt's getting the chills.
Yeah, no, I'm fine.
Yeah, you're cool, man. You're cool. Stuff keeps happening. One night the doorbell rings, the girls go to the door and there's no one there. The girls tell their dad, but he just thinks the girls are longing for his attention and they're making things up. One night the girls are watching TV and they hear knocking from the basement. The girls bravely go down into the basement and they see written on the wall in blood, it says, "I am in your room, come find me." The girls run straight out of the house to their neighbours. The neighbour phones their dad and tells the police.
Hold on.
Matt's face right now.
Why would a ghost go into the basement and go, "I'm in your bedroom"?
Well, do you want to find out?
Why not just make a noise in the bedroom?
Do you want to find? It might be a really funny, like a cruel joke, like, you know, be like practical jokes and stuff.
Can you imagine if that happened to you?
I'd be
honestly,
so scared.
I don't think I could ever go in that house again. It would just be the worst.
That's awful. The poor girls as well. So their dad and the police officer go into the basement. They find that the message is written in ketchup. Brian, their dad, says the girls have done this. He apologises to the policeman and explains they lost their mum. They're just lashing out. They're trying to get attention. He tells the girls do not do anything like this again and that they need to start therapy. The girls are so frustrated that no one believes them, and they're scared because they know they still have to be home alone with this, whatever it is going on.
No, forget it.
I know.
Matt's out.
Forget it.
Matt's
How
actually
do they go back into the house?
Exiting the podcast right now. Right, so a few weeks later, the girls are alone again, and they hear a really intense knocking from upstairs. They go upstairs and see
it's
written...
the ketchup bottle.
The ketchup and nuggets. They go upstairs and see written on the wall in the bedroom, "I'm back, come and find me." The girls are so scared at this point. They run to their neighbours. The neighbour calls their dad again. When he gets home, the girls are stood outside cuddling each other, shaking and crying. The neighbour tells him they've been like this the whole time. She really thinks this is serious. The dad goes into their house, and as he walks through, he sees things are so messy and every TV is on. He goes upstairs and sees the message in the girls' room. He sees a picture of Annie with a knife through it.
Oh my gosh.
He hears a noise from down the hall and goes to check it out. He goes into his bedroom and sees someone stood there in his wife's wedding gown and a wig. Matt's face. Matt's face. Oh my gosh, I wish you guys could see Matt's face. He looks so shocked.
It's just
I love it. The figure, are you ready for this? The figure turns around and it's Danny, the boy who had gone on a date with Annie. Oh, is it obvious now, is it?
Why would you talk about Danny? Oh, she went on a date with Danny. Forget Danny. He's not coming back into it.
Ready?
The whole time I'm going, well, when's Danny coming back into it?
His face is covered in war paint and he's holding a hatchet. Brian stumbles backwards, runs out of the house and calls the police. He knows the boy he saw was young, so he waits outside for the police, making sure the boy doesn't leave. He doesn't see anyone exit the house. The police arrive and go in the house. They don't find anyone after searching everywhere. They notice there is a bookcase slightly moved away from the wall. They look behind it and see a tunnel system behind the wall and throughout the walls of the house. Danny LaPlante had been living inside the walls of the house ever since his date with Annie.
That is just insane.
Oh my gosh.
Insane.
But
there
how
were
did
coins.
he build a tunnel system?
They were all in there already. He knew about it or he found out about it.
It's American houses. You couldn't get that in England, but American houses, they're like wooden and stuff, aren't they?
Really, it must have been a really old house.
But yeah, oh my gosh. Can you imagine?
There were coins glued to the ceiling, writing on the walls, and even semen on the girls' clothing. Oh. They find peepholes throughout the house, so anywhere the girls were, Danny could watch them. So Danny's arrested and taken to a psychiatric hospital for assessment before he's sent to juvenile hall. Authorities decide he will be tried as an adult, and his mother managed to get together the £10,000 bail.
But didn't he live with his mum? This is what I don't understand. Like, how was he just living in this place?
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
So he had a horrible life. He was terribly abused by his father since a young age. He had a really bad time in school. He was picked on. He had learning difficulties. When he was young, he was sent to a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist molested him.
Oh my gosh.
So he's had a really rubbish life. Not that excuses his behaviour, but he's basically had it bad.
How old was he, sorry?
He was Abby's age. So I think
you said he
15,
went to school.
Yeah,
okay.
So he had a lot of underlying psychological problems. When he managed to make bail, the Andrews family relocate, obviously, because they're like, we do not want to be living near this guy.
Yeah.
So it's 2 years before Danny's trial is set, and he's on bail. He'd always broken into homes to mess with people, move things around, invade their privacy, and he stole some guns from a neighbour once. So he'd always had a track record for doing this. So in December 1987, before his trial, Danny hikes through the woods and comes to a house belonging to the Gustafsons. A mother, Priscilla, she's 33, the father, Andrew, Abigail, who's 7, and 5-year-old William. It's unclear whether this was a robbery gone wrong or something more sinister, but Andrew Gustafson came home to find his whole family had been killed. His pregnant wife had been shot in the head, and his 2 young children had been drowned in 2 different bathtubs.
Oh, gosh.
I know. Police linked the gun casing to that of a gun which had been stolen by Danny. For 48 hours they couldn't find him, but they got a big task force together from neighbouring counties. They tracked Danny down to a lumberyard where he was hiding out in a shed. When they arrest him, he doesn't stop laughing the entire time. So at the age of 17, Danny was sentenced to 3 consecutive life sentences for the murders. In jail, he never expressed remorse. He became a Wiccan and even tried to file a lawsuit against the state of Massachusetts for not giving him access to dragon's blood, black opium, or honeysuckle.
That's insane.
Yeah, for his beliefs. So over the years, Danny had appeal after appeal rejected, including his final one in 2016, which was also denied. So he is never getting out of jail.
Oh, God.
And that is the ghost story, which wasn't actually
a ghost story, which is why I can handle that. I remember when I first listened to that, though, and honestly, I was lying in bed at night and just looking at the walls, like, what could be in there?
The thing is, I kept saying, Bex, listen to it, because I was like, you think it is, but it's not. That's why it's so good.
It's because the episode says a haunting, so I was like, right, I'm not listening to that. But yeah, then when you hear what really happened. But I mean, that's what happens when you let someone go. I mean, all those deaths didn't need to happen. And then,
I know,
you know, he obviously is a danger, and he shouldn't be released on bail. But imagine having someone live in your walls. That is so scary. It's like that film Boy. It is honestly terrifying.
Oh, it is, isn't it? Maybe that's where they got the idea.
Imagine you're thinking, there's a ghost in my house, and then really it's just someone in your walls. Who would have thought it?
Do you know there are actually a lot of stories like that?
Really?
I mean, I was reading something where a man kept finding his food was going missing.
Yeah.
And he installed cameras, and when he looked, a woman, every time he left the house or went to bed, a woman would climb out of a cupboard in his house and go and eat his food.
Yeah.
Like, she'd been living in his cupboard for months, and he didn't know.
This was a really big YouTube video, but I don't know if it's real. It might be fake. But what Ali just described, you can find that on YouTube. It might be real, but you can find it on YouTube.
Seen that.
So he says, I've found stuff missing, so I'm going to set up these cameras. And then it shows the night footage, and this lady just crawls out of a hole in the kitchen.
That's crazy.
That is terrifying.
The food. And I can't remember, but I think even on the video, didn't she go to the toilet in the kitchen or something? Unless I'm just imagining
in the kitchen.
I don't.
Well, the whole video's in the kitchen.
In the kitchen.
No, she must have gone to the toilet.
Video in the kitchen.
Matt, I think that's other videos you've been watching.
I have heard a few stories.
I love kitchen videos.
Well, I have heard a few stories of people living in someone's house and them not knowing for a while. And yeah,
is it always in America?
All the ones I've heard are. But...
Yeah, I just feel like we're all brick walls. I don't know if you could really do that.
Oh, well, do you remember the story I told you where I thought I had someone living in my house because I went to the toilet one night and the seat was up and I thought, oh my gosh, there must be a man living in my house. And he was polite. He was rude enough to not put the seat back down. Anyway, it was only because I was just really tired.
Wasn't that when I was staying with you? I'm sure that was me.
No, it wasn't. You always think it was when you were staying with me. If it was when you were staying with me, I would have straight away been like, oh, that was Matt.
Would you, though? Because you, honestly, the way your brain works sometimes.
Yeah, no.
I don't know why I thought. I was like, oh my gosh, is there a man in my house?
No, Ali, you thought it was the other way round where I think the seat... It was something where you thought, oh, there's a man hiding in my house, but he's so polite that he's putting the seat back down. Like, you thought he was really polite, but you genuinely believed this man was living in your house.
Layers. You normally put both the seats down.
I like to shut the whole toilet.
Yeah, whereas I had left one open. I'm sure it was me.
It wasn't when you were with me.
It wasn't.
Okay.
That might have been a different
time. Because I was telling Bex and Tyler the story when they were next to mine.
Yeah. Ali just has,
and they were like, as if someone was hiding in your house, they'd be polite enough to put the seat back down. Where would he be? My house is so small.
See, I never have thoughts like that. I never just go, oh, this is happening. I think it's because you guys listen to so many of these things.
Exactly. Yeah, it's because Ali listens to so much true crime. This is how her mind works. Like,
and this is the thing.
I basically live on true crime, horror, thriller. Yeah. Stephen King books, yeah.
That's all. And literally, when Ali says that, she genuinely means that. When I remember, me and my friend stayed at her house one night. We woke up the next day, and Ali was like, "Oh, should we put Friday the 13th on?" Like, she will literally put a horror film on middle of the day. Like, she does not care. Yeah. Anytime horror film.
They're my
That's
favorite.
all she wants to watch is a horror film. But recently, when I really got back into true crime podcasts, honestly, whenever I watch anything or do anything, like I'll be watching Desperate Housewives and the girl's in the middle of the road and I'm like, oh my gosh, a serial killer's just going to come and kill her. Because you just, it's so much in your head. And even on the phone, it's like a comedy program or something. You still just think, oh my gosh, serial killer.
And you get so you guys say that, these true crime things are good because they protect you, but I think they just make you really paranoid because I'm never thinking stuff like this.
Yeah, it's true. You can go one way or the other. It's good in some ways, not in the other. Not in some ways.
For me, I feel no, I mean I live alone with the kids and I don't get particularly freaked out at night. If I hear a noise, I'm very quick to be like, well, no, that's nothing. But luckily I live in a flat, so I can blame a lot of noise on the neighbours and stuff.
Yeah, and if the toilet seat's up, you don't think, oh, there's a man in my house.
If there is a man in my house, I'd like him to introduce himself. I do get lonely.
Yeah. That was the worst thing about that story was her disappointment when she realised she'd left the toilet seat up. Sometimes she lifts the toilet seat up just to surprise her, give her a little bit of hope.
There's hope out there for everyone.
Okay.
So
I can't believe you said that, Ali. I mean, really.
No, that's brilliant.
You can take it out.
I'm not taking that out. That is brilliant. Okay.
And with that,
I will tell my story.
Rebecca.
My story, I've gone in a completely different direction this week. My story is not even true crime. It's not murder. There's no evil people. It is a survival story.
Yay.
A nature survival story. So.
Oh my gosh. I was looking at nature survival stories. So it's so lucky I didn't do that this week.
Were you? Oh, yeah. Wow. Yeah, that is lucky. So this is the survival story of Will Slattery. So, Will Slattery and his two friends, Jimmy Simplicio and Manny Sanchez, are on a dream holiday skydiving in Costa Rica. They are all seasoned skydivers and belong to the same skydiving club back in California. The morning of their final jump, so they've been holidaying for about a week and they've done quite a few jumps already. So the morning of their final jump, Will checks his gear several times to make sure everything's okay and safe. There was a storm in the morning, so they delayed the jump to the afternoon when the skies had cleared. They get on a very small plane, kind of like a light aircraft, to be flown to their jump site. But as the plane climbs, the weather starts to get worse. They enter the clouds, and for 20 minutes, they are in complete whiteout and couldn't see anything. Skydivers aren't meant to fall through the clouds, so it's like safety. They need to be able to see what they're doing because they could get disorientated. So if it's pure clouds, they can't jump. So they expect to find a break in the clouds, but none comes, so they decide to turn back. They skydive a lot, so this sometimes happens, and it's just the way it is. I forgot to say, by the way, I got this story on YouTube. There's these YouTube videos called Wonder. It's by Wonder, and there's loads of them, and it's all, you know, they're proper like documentaries, and each one is a different person's survival story. So I really recommend people to watch this because they do reenactments, and they have, you know, the background music and stuff, and you get so into it, you like feel like you're there with him. Like I was getting chills, you know. I felt like, oh my gosh, I'm there.
Yeah,
it's
so
really good.
Stop listening now.
Yeah,
and
done here.
And go and watch Wonder instead.
I think we should stop here. We can just watch.
We could all watch it.
It's gonna be a much better experience for you if you go and watch that. So yeah, okay. But as the plane makes its way back to the airfield, the plane hits turbulence, which escalates. The plane is flying crazy. It's like all over the sky, and it's a tiny plane, so they're just getting thrown about. They're, you know, it starts to completely lose control, and the plane tilts. The boys are getting thrown around from the floor to the ceiling just constantly. It's just
scary.
Mad. Oh my gosh, I would just be terrified.
I know.
We should put a warning in this podcast. Don't listen to this podcast if you're on a plane.
Yeah. Oh, that is
but
a
it's
good
different.
point.
They're on a tiny plane because they're doing skydiving and stuff. It's not a normal charter. It's not a normal.
Yeah, all right.
But
yeah, forget it. Carry on.
Yeah, just carry on, guys. Come on.
How big is your plane?
So in that case, we should put a warning to anyone who
is at
home.
home.
If you live in a house,
home, check your walls.
If you live in a house,
check your cupboards.
But let's just say, if your plane is going to go crazy, the best time is when you're skydiving. You've got a parachute on.
True.
I mean, come on.
Very
Good
true.
point.
So the plane starts hurtling towards Earth, so Will and his friends know they have to jump. They try and open the door of the plane, but it takes them about 4 tries because they're constantly just being thrown around. They have no idea how high they are and if they will be able to parachute properly, but it's literally their only option. Like, the plane is going down. So they jump. 5 to 8 seconds later, Will's automatic parachute goes off, which means he was going at very fast velocity at about 700 feet. He looks around for his friends and he sees Jimmy under his canopy, but he's quite a way away and he's going quite a distance off. And his friend Manny was parallel to him under his parachute. He says, a second literally after his parachute opened, he heard the plane hit the water. He turns around and he sees the tail of the plane in the water. So they literally jumped at exactly the right time. If they had just waited a little bit longer, they wouldn't have been able to. Will tries to call out to Manny to get his attention and see if he's okay, but he's not responding. And he can see that Manny looks a bit limp and his head is hanging down. Will assumes that he may have got hit by the plane on the way out and he might be dead. Will is hurtling towards Earth, but he has no idea where he is going to land. He hits the ocean, still attached to his parachute. He knows he has to act quick, as he could easily get tangled up in the lines of the parachute and drown. It takes him 2 to 3 minutes, but he eventually manages to get the straps off his chest and swim under the parachute to get free. He is desperate to find Manny, so he pulls off his t-shirt and shoes so that he can swim freely to find him. He knows if Manny was unconscious, he would need to find him to keep him from drowning, but he can't find him. He can't see his parachute. He can't see anything.
Cue sound effect.
Yeah. I'm trying to add a bit of suspense. He is completely isolated in just shorts in the middle of the ocean. So can you just imagine this right now? This is why it's so good on Wonder, because they've got the reenactment and you just feel like you're there in the ocean with him. It is, in the middle of the ocean, and it's just you. You've got nothing to hold on to. You've got no clothes, and you're in Costa Rica. This isn't English waters where there's no sharks or anything, you know?
But the weather it's not freezing, at least.
No, that's one thing. The plane had gone under. He sees no Manny, no Jimmy, no parachutes, absolutely nothing. He is overcome with hopelessness and sees no way out. He thinks there's no way he's going to last the night in the ocean. He says that if he was going to die, why couldn't he have just died fast with the plane rather than longing it out in the middle of the ocean? He said, if there's a chance of life, I'll fight. But if I'm going to die no matter what, then why stretch it out? Just give me instant death. Will knows he's landing in shark-infested waters. He knows he's vulnerable, and if a shark wants to find him, they will find him. But then he starts to think maybe they would be his saviour for a quick way out. So he decides that being eaten by a shark is a better option, and he just starts splashing around and trying to attract sharks to him.
What?
I know.
Oh my gosh.
But the sharks don't come.
Hold on. Ali is as terrified of the open ocean and sharks as me and Bex are of ghosts, probably.
Ali's got her hands on her head
This
right
is
now.
her worst case scenario. She'd rather have someone living in her walls. especially if it was
I
an
honestly would,
attractive
because
man.
I can deal with that. Yeah, any men looking like Chris Hemsworth.
I don't think they'll be living in your walls.
You are
Yeah,
welcome.
they're normally living in walls.
No. Well, yeah, you're right. My worst fear, I just have such a fear of tsunamis, open water, anything like that. I'm not a great swimmer. It freaks me out. And I have a lot of nightmares about this kind of stuff. I don't know why.
Well,
maybe that will be how I die.
But it's because
never
you
know.
don't feel confident in the water as well, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
So
it just freaks me out.
Let me tell you this. When I was in Malaysia, it was really like not very, safety wasn't like a big deal. And we were going on a like snorkeling thing. So there were only 4 of us, and it was just this little boat and a local who lived there. He's like, all right, jump into the boat. And he goes, does anyone need a life jacket? And everyone was like, no. So I was like, okay, no. And I was thinking, oh, well, it won't matter. Like, we'll be right next to the boat. And so he drives us out to this place. And he's like, okay, this is it. You can all jump in the water. So I jump in the water. And then he drives off.
What?
So now I'm in the water without a life jacket. And I've suddenly realised, oh my goodness, he's gone.
Oh my gosh.
And I was really freaking out because I was far away from anything else. And I was thinking,
That's
I
terrifying.
once got cramp when I was swimming.
Yeah.
And you just like lose your ability to swim.
Yeah.
And suddenly that entered my mind. And now I was really freaking out thinking, I'm going to get cramp. I'm going to drown.
No, that's
this
so
guy's
terrifying.
gone away in his
Oh my
boat.
gosh.
And everyone else is swimming around like, there's some fish over here. And I'm thinking, I'm going to die. And then,
did he come back?
well, there was a boat, like someone's boat, just what's it called, moored, where it's just sitting in the water, but it's quite far away. So I swam there, like trying to calm down, and I eventually reached it. And then
Just
as soon
so
as
people know,
Did the guy come back? What was the plan? Leave you there for half hour to swim and then come get you? What?
he was probably only gone for 5 minutes, but it was scary.
I couldn't have done that. I would have drowned.
Yeah, but you would have put a life jacket on.
Yeah, you would have.
Yeah, absolutely. I never would have gone in that situation.
Ali wouldn't have even done the excursion. she wouldn't be out there. So the listeners know, Matt is a massive worrier. Like, Matt overthinks every little thing, and he honestly freaks out about the smallest thing. Like, when we were in Australia, you're not allowed alcohol, but people sneak alcohol into festivals and things like that. So we were trying to sneak this alcohol into this fireworks show. Matt was terrified. Matt was like, I don't think we should be doing this. Honestly, like, oh my gosh, what if I don't feel comfortable bringing alcohol with me? What if I get caught? And it's like, Matt, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think you're going to get arrested?
So funny.
They're just going to take it off you and throw it away. Yeah, Matt. But honestly, Matt overthinks everything, and so I can really imagine him freaking out in that water.
As soon as the boat came back, I put my life jacket on and I didn't take it off for the rest of the day. And I had a great day. As soon as I had the life jacket on.
That's
safety
scary,
first.
though.
Safety first.
Yeah, that is scary. I wouldn't have liked that.
Okay, let me get back to my story. Okay, but the sharks don't come, and Will starts to realise his predicament. He knows this isn't America. The Coast Guard isn't just going to show up. He is alone and needs to either survive this or not. He decides to fight back. He doesn't want to expend all his energy treading water, so decides to just lay back and float. He knows if he starts to panic, it will kill him. He just has to stay calm. Sorry, I'm just going to say one more thing. I can't float in the water. So some people float really easily. But yeah, when I try and lie back and float, I can't do it. So I would be screwed. So Over to the ground coordinator, Tanya Handel. She is waiting for the guys to land at the agreed drop zone location. She starts to worry as no one is there, and the owner of the skydiving school, Milt Burton, was on the plane and knows to call her if they change location. She tries to call Milt but can't get through to him. And she just starts to think, oh, they must have cancelled the dive. So she turns back to the airstrip. But 20 minutes later, they still haven't turned up, and the airstrip is empty. There's no one there.
Gosh.
Cut back to Will out in the ocean. He has been struggling to stay afloat for 5 hours.
Oh.
He has been out there for 5 hours.
No.
Honestly,
No.
I've treaded water for like 3 minutes before and it's tiring.
Did you hear my
It's
story?
just crazy.
5 minutes.
I would have been dead within 2 minutes. I'm not even joking.
Ellie would have just laid back.
I would have died
She
from a
wouldn't have even
panic
floated
attack.
for a second.
I would be under,
straight in the
mate.
water
I'd be
down.
gone. I'd be done.
His muscles are drawing on emergency reserves of adrenaline and he is beginning to suffer acute exhaustion and he is in complete darkness.
Oh.
He can hardly... Oh, so by the way, yeah, this is nighttime now, so it's pitch black.
Oh, man. That's horrible.
He can hardly see anything, even his hand in front of his face. But as he drifts alone, he suddenly gets a ray of hope as he sees 5 to 6 lights spaced out in the darkness.
UFOs.
He has no idea... UFOs. Yeah, that's what it is.
That's
this is
what
when
this
they
story's
come.
about.
Yes, this is actually an alien story. He has no idea how far they are, but thought they must be human, so that must be where land is. He starts swimming towards the lights, trying to stay calm and collected. He would do about 20 to 30 backstrokes and stop and then go again.
Wow.
But then the undercurrents pull him further out back into the ocean. He is exhausted and he can't see a way out. He can't get to the lights. They just start to fade away. Back at the airfield, Tanya is waiting for the plane to return to base. It's been missing now for 6 hours and there's been no sightings of it at all.
So
she needs to
just
check.
stood there at the airfield like, for 6 hours. Oh, I bet maybe I should call someone. Or, like,
Well, this is
6 hours. Do something after an hour. Do you know what I mean?
Well, this is the thing. It says that she needs to check it hasn't diverted to another airstrip before calling emergency services. But yeah, you'd think, why is it taking 6 hours to find this stuff out?
That is a long time, man.
Tanya says that she and they, because the other people who work with her, were all just praying that the guys were sitting somewhere with no service and alive. But she starts to realise that something has gone very wrong. The plane has not returned, it's missing, and the weather is getting worse. She knows it must have crashed, but the Costa Rica emergency services can't launch a rescue during the night as visibility is too poor. So she's panicking. She doesn't even know where to look. They could be anywhere, north, south, up the coast, down the coast, in the mountains. She has absolutely no idea. Will's now been in the ocean for 9 hours.
Oh.
The water temperature has dropped. Now, it says it's dropped to 45 degrees. I was supposed to look this up because obviously for us 45 degrees is mega hot, but this is American 45 degrees. So
Like they're Fahrenheit, yeah.
Yeah, Fahrenheit.
45 degrees American. Yeah.
I was supposed to look what it was in English and I forgot, but apparently that's really cold.
Okay.
He is rapidly losing body heat and dehydrating even more from swallowing seawater.
Oh, God.
No search has even started and he is losing hope. He has seen no boats, no planes, nothing. He knows he's not going to last the night. He's going to die. Just when it seems things can't get worse, he is attacked from underneath the water.
No.
He feels something attacking him. Yeah, no. He is freaking out because he can't see anything.
Oh my God.
Then he realises he is in a school of jellyfish and they are stinging him all over his back. Mm-hmm. So he swum into a school of jellyfish. There's loads of them. The pain is excruciating. It's all over his back, his legs, his feet, everywhere. It's extremely painful. The jellyfish are leaving welts and bleeding sores that the salt water is then stinging as well.
Oh my gosh.
So it's just double. Will tries to escape the jellyfishes and quickly tries to swim through, but he's just going further into the school and more jellyfish are stinging him.
Will.
Honestly.
Come on, Will. Oh.
The stinging makes Will start to worry more about what else is in the water. He starts to think that sharks hunt at night.
But earlier he was encouraging it.
Yeah, because he survived so long, he's probably like, oh, don't let me die now.
You have these bursts, don't you? When he first was there, he was like, oh my gosh, sharks, just kill me. But now he's sort of surviving and stuff. You don't really want to die, do you? It's yeah. So does he splash around until a shark comes and eats him? Then his worst fears become real. There is something in the water and it is heading straight for him.
But he can't see this. Or has the sun...
He can't see. He can see that there's something there.
Oh.
But wait, 9 hours, I guess, has the sun started to rise now? Or
No. It's pitch black. It's during the night.
So how can he see something in the water?
Maybe he can see like
he can sort of make out a shape. A dark shape.
So he can see the shark's fin, the shark's fin.
Or when something's gliding through the water, you can just see that sort of stream in the water, like that sort of presence. I don't know how to explain it.
He can tell there's something there.
Yeah.
He starts to think it's a crocodile. He didn't know how far out saltwater crocodiles swim, but it was too elongated to be a turtle, so it looked like a crocodile. And he's thinking, great, now I'm going to be thrown about.
What's worse, a crocodile or a shark? I mean, that's the ultimate question, isn't it?
I think
that is the ultimate question.
But that's...
I'm glad you mentioned it.
Finally. People wonder about life.
I don't want to interrupt too much, but Tomb Raider has given me a lifetime fear of crocodiles and sharks. Especially one of the Tomb Raider games, you just land in the water and suddenly there's sharks, and oh my gosh, I screamed and screamed. But yeah, obviously you think, what would you rather have coming at you, a crocodile or a shark? And apparently there are things you can do to get a shark away.
Yeah,
whereas a crocodile,
100%.
Once it's got you, it will not let go. Yeah.
I've just remembered that actually. Yeah, sharks, apparently, right? If you just touch their nose gently, they turn direction.
What? Really?
Seriously.
Oh my
like
God.
There is this woman.
And then this woman. Oh my gosh, so he got the shark, he touched its nose, and he got on it all the way home. Is that what happened?
Yeah,
he rode it back to shore.
Touching it to the left, touching it to the right.
Steering it. There is this woman, I can't remember if she's called Ocean Ramsey on Instagram, if that's her photographer's name. But she lives in Hawaii and she's a proper shark expert. And she's done this whole documentary on the fact that people first really found out about sharks through Jaws, and it just gave them such a bad reputation. And her whole thing is sharks really aren't as dangerous as people think. If you're in the water with them, like she swam with great white sharks, and there's pictures of her with a great white shark in front of her, and there's a video of her, and she is literally got her hand on his nose, and it is incredible.
I would not want to do that.
I am going to Hawaii. I am booking onto one of her tours, and I'm going to go swim with sharks with her. I'm desperate to do that. I think it will be the most incredible thing. But honestly, when you watch this, it's incredible. Look at the pictures. Everyone go and find her on Instagram. Look at the pictures of her with the sharks. It is so beautiful.
Can I just say,
she just touches their nose, and they just they just move away.
Rebecca has always wanted to swim with sharks. She used to want to go in a cage underwater.
Yeah, but that's bad for them. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's not good for them.
I mean, I would not want to go swim with sharks if I was paid. I do not want to go anywhere near a shark. Thank you.
I want to swim with everything. I want to swim with whales,
everything.
Chuck a cat in the water. Right, next.
Feces, cat.
Couple of rats.
I think being in the ocean with sea life is the most incredible thing in the world. I just think it's amazing, and what she does with the sharks is incredible. I've spoke about her for ages.
Can
I'll
I
get
say
back to
though,
my story, but
please, right? I have no doubt what she does is amazing. But there are also people who can go up to lions and they're called lion whisperers. So
I wouldn't do that either.
Some people do have a way of doing this, but that doesn't mean now everyone can just walk up to a lion or a shark.
No, of course not. But this is what they say. So anyone, if you're ever out with a shark in the water, what you need to do is always keep above it. You always need to be above it, so you're the alpha. Stay looking at it. Always keep eye contact, and then just touch its nose gently.
Eye contact. I could not be that calm.
You have to be calm. You have to be calm, and then just touch its nose gently, and it will turn the other direction and leave you alone.
Yeah. So
oh my God. Okay,
touch it slightly to the left to go left, slightly to the right to go right.
And if you touch it too hard, you're done for.
Yeah. Touch its tail to accelerate.
his fin twice to slow down.
See, I'm teaching survival skills here. Okay, let me get back to my story. Okay, he starts to think it's a crocodile. He didn't know how far out saltwater crocodiles swim, but it was too elongated to be a turtle, so it looks like a crocodile. He's freaking out as the thing gets closer, freaking out, and then it hits him.
Oh my God.
It's a log.
It's a log!
It hits him on the nose. He changes direction.
It's a log! What the... Oh my God. Oh my God. It's a log!
He realises he's been a shark all along. and panic over.
The shark.
He just carries on with his life.
He is the shark.
He is the shark.
Think like a shark, he will be a shark.
I totally ruined your moment because I wanted to say a joke, but that's amazing.
No,
that it was
that's
a log.
fine. It's a log.
He
is so relieved that he now has a log to hang on to. So can you imagine, 1 minute you are so scared and the next you finally have something
It's
to
a
float on.
lifesaver.
Wow, yeah.
Like after just having to float and tread water for all that time, you now have
the
a log.
chances of a log coming right up to you and
I
hitting
know.
you.
I know.
That's really
It's like in the
weird.
middle of the ocean as well. It's
Yeah.
crazy. It was fate.
Ali, were there logs in Tomb Raider, or are you okay with logs?
There were no logs, and it was just me and the sharks. So.
If only you had some.
Mm.
He is so relieved that he now has a log to hang on to, and he is given a second lease of life as hope fills him once more that he will be able to get out of there.
Mm.
Back on land, news of the accident reaches Will's skydiving club back in California. Giles Fabry, the manager of the club, has to then contact the friends and family of the boys missing. They find out that the rescue operation won't start until daylight, so they try and take action. From their base in California, they try and get in touch with fishing boats and charter boats in Costa Rica and ask them if they will send their boats out to look for their friends. They managed to get one boat out.
Oh.
Obviously, it's really late, so it's going to be difficult. Will has now been in the water for 12 hours. He is clinging onto the log, but prolonged exposure to the salt water is causing his muscles to shrink and he is suffering extreme fatigue. He is exhausted. The water he had ingested, the pain from the jellyfish, the dehydration, the fact that it had gotten much colder, he knew he was going to die. 15 hours after crashing, Will makes it through the night. He wakes up on the log, having fallen asleep from pure exhaustion.
Wow.
In the daylight, he can see a beach.
Another log. It's not a log. It is a crocodile.
And that's it.
In the daylight, he can see a beach. He said it seemed like the swells were pushing him towards land and he would be able to ride the log into shore. He's all of a sudden so full of hope and he's thinking there's going to be a bar on the beach, he can get a beer and he can just call a ride. And
so he touches the log on the nose.
It turns towards the beach. Will rides the ingoing tides for over an hour, but he wasn't making much progress and the tides turn and start to work against him.
Oh, again?
Pushing him back out to sea. So it's like he gets all this hope. He's starting to, he can see the beach and he's swimming, but he's just not moving. He is not moving.
So bad.
His only hope is the search and rescue operation, which is now in action. But Will is now miles from the crash site and the rescue teams are looking in the completely wrong place. Even if they knew where to look, they are still trying to find this tiny speck of life in a vast ocean. It's like a needle in a haystack, they say. Will saw planes and boats pass him throughout the day. So he can see boats, he can see planes, he's calling out to them, he's waving to them, but they don't see him. Isn't that even worse in a way? Because you get all this hope. Yeah, you get this hope oh my gosh, there's a boat, there's a plane, and then they just pass you by.
Oh, that's awful.
He gets so disheartened because he's seeing all these people around him, but yet he's not able to get their attention and alert them to him. He realizes how tiny he is in the ocean and that it would just be impossible for them to see him. His friends at the skydiving group had been up throughout the night and day trying to get help for the boys. Even though they knew the chances for survival was small, they still had hope. but they knew every hour that went by, there was less and less chance of survival. Will kept trying to get to shore, but he couldn't seem to get any closer. The hope he had had when he woke up and saw the beach was now fading away. He realised that even though the log had been his lifeline, it is now holding him back. It is riding the undercurrents and pulling him further out to sea. So he's now in a massive dilemma. Does he let the log go and pray that he can swim to shore, or does he just stay holding on and hope that rescue will find him? What do you do?
I know, right?
Because the log has been your lifeline. It saved you. And once you let that go, it's literally all you, and you have to try and get to shore. It's a massive decision to make. After much deliberation, Will decides that his best chance was to let go of the log and try to swim to shore. He lets go of the log, swims 20 to 30 yards, and then he thinks, forget this, and he swims back to the log.
Really?
He does this, yeah.
Oh my God.
He does this 3 times, and then he eventually lets go.
Oh my God.
And he says that it's like Castaway. Like the log was like Wilson. When he had to let it go, it was painful.
That's one of the saddest movie moments.
Oh my gosh, it's such a sad moment. Yeah, it's so sad. But once he watches the log fade away, his energy just completely runs out.
Oh.
He swallows a dangerous amount of seawater and is now suffering from extreme dehydration. He said he's struggling to breathe, and he was very short breath, like, and he just couldn't breathe. He just had nothing left. His blood pressure is rapidly increasing, causing severe heart palpitations. If his body loses any more fluid, he could slip into unconsciousness and die. He was thinking he's going to drown at any moment. So he's let go of the log, and he can't even swim. He can't even swim to shore. And you just think, oh, should have just carried on holding onto the log. But yeah, what do you do? Cut back to his friends in California. They are trying to work out Will's group would have crashed. None of the boat owners they have contacted have seen Will, and they know they're running out of time. It has nearly now been 24 hours since the crash. So Will's just out in the sea. He starts to hallucinate because he's just so out of it. He's so dehydrated, and he starts seeing sharks and turtles, and he doesn't know what's real and what's not. His body's completely shutting down, and his kidneys couldn't flush out the seawater. He knew the end was imminent, and he starts just sort of accepting death, and he starts just saying his farewells in his head, thinking of his friends and family. As he is doing this, he thinks he sees a boat, but he doesn't know if it's hallucination or not. He tries to focus and wave to them, but he just doesn't have any energy, so he just lays back and just accepts his fate, whatever happens. But he looks up, and he sees that it is a boat, and there are real people. Will has drifted miles from the search area, and it is a complete chance that these fishermen have spotted him.
Oh my gosh.
They reach down and they pull him into the boat and give him water and take him back to shore.
Thank God.
This is complete chance. This is nothing to do with the rescue team. These people have no idea who this guy is. They are just fishermen. They are just fishermen out on this little boat, and they just happen to come across him.
That must be the single greatest feeling you can ever have, being saved that close to death.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Imagine, like, you just have nothing left, and all of a sudden you're saved. Your life is saved. The search and rescue operation had been looking in completely the wrong places. Some had been looking in the mountains, others different parts of the ocean. So they wouldn't have found him, you know, they would not have found him. So now Will was found, they could look for his friends in that area. The bodies of Manny and Jimmy, along with the pilot George Melendez and 2 other passengers, Milt Burton, who owned the skydiving resort, and Gene Roman, who was a student skydiver who was going out that day, were pulled from the ocean along with the plane wreckage. So Will is the only survivor. Will spent 5 days recovering in hospital, and he still skydives to this day.
Wow.
He has done about 2,000 jumps since the incident and says that it was the plane that was dangerous. The parachute saved his life.
Wow. Will.
And that is the story of Will Slattery.
And that is where the saying, where there's a will, there's a way.
That's actually where it came from.
Yeah.
It was invented in... I didn't even... What year did I say this was? I don't even know if I said a year.
No, I don't remember that.
No, I didn't say a year, and I don't know it to tell you.
Well, that was
amazing.
gripping. No, that was a good ride. Well done.
It's nice survival stories, isn't it? I love it. I love a survival
because it's like
story.
however sad it got, you know he survived. So it's...
Exactly.
Wow.
And the good thing about survival stories is you can tell the really horrible details, like when it's really, because normally it's like, oh, it's so depressing, but you know they survived it, so yeah, you can just be like, oh my gosh, as if it got that bad and they survived it. So yeah, it's great.
That's amazing.
Great.
The will to survive is so strong.
The will Slattery to survive is very strong. Yeah. But yeah, so
very good.
Yeah, really good. I really enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun.
I love a survival story.
Although it doesn't make me want to parachute.
No. Or go in the ocean.
I'm not going to be going skydiving anytime soon.
But you will swim with sharks.
Yeah, well, but that's the difference. I'm very scared of heights, and when you're in the water, the water's not so much, but you do kind of have control. Whereas if you're falling from the sky, you just have no control whatsoever.
No, forget it, mate. I don't want to do any of it. So, Matt, do you want to go for it?
Well, we're straight into it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well. I think we spoke quite a lot during that story, so
I think get into it.
I mean,
we've been on for
we can
over
just
an hour.
say, yeah, how amazing Will was, how amazing the survival was, and it's very uplifting.
Absolutely.
Gives you hope.
Yeah.
Remember, if you see a shark, touch its nose, and Matt, your story.
And if you see a log, let it go.
Yeah.
Okay, this one is called Kidnapped in Japan.
Oh, is it about you, Matt?
It's about Ali.
Oh, don't. We will tell that story another day.
Yes, another
day. Yes. Oh, gosh.
So
it's always me, isn't it? Oh.
Go on, Matt.
This honestly just came up on BBC News. Like this article was written 2 days ago.
Oh, really?
And
So it's really
I kind of just found it completely by accident, and I thought, okay, I'll do that. I mean, as you guys know, I don't spend too long looking.
Yeah.
Just the first story that comes up.
Yeah, I Google church, but no luck this week. All right. So, Kidnapped in Japan. In 1977, in Japan, a 13-year-old girl said goodbye to her friends after badminton practice and then went on her way home. A walk which should take less than 4 minutes, but she didn't return home. Her parents began to worry. The mum went to the school expecting to see her daughter on the way or at school, but when she got to the school, the night watchman said that her daughter had left hours ago. A search was conducted by police, and they were searching the whole area with torches and tracker dogs that night. They searched the pine forest, which was nearby, as well as every car park, but they could not find her. The town was a coastal town, so they also searched the shoreline, but again, they were unable to find her. Also, bizarrely, they were unable to find any evidence. So there was just no trace of how she disappeared. It turned out that she wasn't the only missing person around this time. In fact, the number of missing people, particularly young people and even couples, was increasing. In the late 70s, rumours started to spread around Japanese coastal towns of strange radio signals, lights from unknown ships, and foreign cigarette packets washing up on the shore. In 1987, a South Korean passenger plane was blown up by a bomb. A lady was arrested for helping to smuggle the bomb onto the plane, and she was now facing a death sentence. She testified that she was a North Korean agent and she had been acting on state orders. So she had planted the bomb.
Yeah. Wow.
So because she was on trial for a death sentence, she was given an opportunity. Like, what information can she give so that she won't face death?
Yeah.
She said that she had learnt Japanese language and behaviour from a Japanese woman who had been abducted by North Korean agents.
Oh my gosh. What?
So she's in South Korea now under the custody of the police. So she tells them that a Japanese lady who had been abducted teaches her Japanese. So Japan have this information now, but they're hesitant to sort of acknowledge it publicly because it's well, the political tensions between the two countries are really high, so they can't just come out and so they try to deal with it in private with North Korea, but they were very hostile and aggressively denied the allegations. 20 years after this schoolgirl went missing, North Korea finally agreed to investigate. And when this information became public in Japan, the family of this young girl, her name was Megumi, the family of them, they went public with the news. And it soon began to emerge that there were similar patterns of these styles of kidnappings all around the country.
Wow.
In September 2002, the then Japanese Prime Minister went to the capital of North Korea for a meeting with the leader, Kim Jong-il, in a bid to better the relationships between the two countries. North Korea had suffered a lot of famine throughout the 90s, so they wanted Japan to give them aid, but they also wanted Japan to apologise for their 35-year colonisation of Korea in the past.
Yeah.
But Japan weren't willing to do that unless North Korea admitted to kidnapping Japanese citizens.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
North Korea admitted to kidnapping 13 Japanese citizens.
But why?
But people believe it's more. But North Korea admitted to kidnapping 13 Japanese citizens.
Yeah.
But only 5 of them were still alive.
Oh my gosh.
Of those that had passed away, their causes of death were very coincidental and bizarre. They said some of them died of heart attack.
Quickly, Edward, what is it, doll?
Back in the walls, Edward.
Yeah, get in that wall.
Just like we practiced. Alright, so of those that had passed away, their causes of death were very coincidental and bizarre. Some had died of heart attacks, car accidents, which, by the way, citizens of Korea don't really own cars. So it's all really...
Yeah.
So heart attacks, car accidents, drowning, choking on fumes in an accident. So of 13 people,
so
8 of
weird.
them just accidentally had these accidents.
So dodgy.
And then they said that their graves had been washed away by floods.
Oh, come
What?
on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
that's ridiculous.
So Korea agreed and made a formal apology, claiming that the kidnappings were done by special mission organisations who had not been ordered to kidnap, but had done so on misguided heroism. So they kidnapped the victims thinking they were doing something for their country, but the country had not ordered them to do the kidnappings. This is North Korea's official statement.
And just this happened more than 13 times.
Kim Jong-il went on to say that of those kidnapped, some were taken from beaches in Japan and others were taken while travelling in Europe. Megumi, the young girl, was the youngest named abductee by many years. So it wasn't typically young girls who were abducted. It was actually a lot more often, it seemed, it was couples in their early 20s who were like on a date on the beach.
But it's like, what are they abducting them for?
To train spies, to teach spies how to speak Japanese and act Japanese, so that they could go to, for example, South Korea and be passed as a Japanese citizen.
So these Japanese people who were abducted would then have to teach the Korean people how. Oh, that's insane.
So when that woman was saying, I was taught Japanese by another lady, is that the girl grown up?
Yeah, so Megumi, the young girl, as she grew up, she had to teach spies Japanese language and behaviour.
Can you imagine being kidnapped at that age and then your life is just that? That is horrendous.
So Kim Jong-il, he ultimately...
And nothing bad's supposed to happen in Japan, Matt.
Yeah, Matt, come on. You did lie to us about that.
Yeah, not a lot of bad stuff does happen in Japan, but I can't vouch for North Korea coming and doing stuff.
Just so listeners know.
Yeah. Oh, Japan's really safe, but not the North Koreans. Not if they're there.
Matt loves Japan. And
me and Ali, Matt lived in Japan. Me and Ali went to visit him, and Matt was always saying to us, "Oh, there's no crimes in Japan. Japan is so safe."
Yeah.
So you know,
but there's crime everywhere, guys.
Obviously, there's crime everywhere, but obviously, Japan is incredibly safe. I mean, have you heard the statistics about lost property in Japan?
No,
go on.
If someone finds lost property, like for example Tokyo, right? Everyone hands it in. They hand it in. No one takes something home. They hand it in. The whoever, like the lost property office for the Tokyo Metro, have so many umbrellas. Like,
oh my god!
It's like a factory of handed in umbrellas.
Yeah, that's amazing. That really is incredible.
Right. Anyway, so Kim Jong-il ultimately blamed the spies for acting on their own belief that they were doing the right thing, but North Korea did not advocate the kidnappings, and the kidnappers were punished for the actions. So obviously, this is North Korea's statement. This is what the newspaper reports. So of the 13 kidnappings, 5 were still alive, but 8 were declared dead. And North Korea said that Megumi had hanged herself in a pine forest.
No.
Yeah. A pine forest, which is like the pine forest from her hometown. She had hanged herself in 1994. And this was outside a mental hospital where she was staying because she was suffering from depression. So obviously, like, you know, it devastated
I was really
her.
hoping she would have...
I know, right?
Unfortunately not. However, despite North Korea saying this, a Japanese woman who did survive said that she had lived next door to Megumi after the date North Korea said. So actually, so you just don't know.
Somewhere, yeah.
Oh my
Let's
gosh. But wouldn't she have gone back to Japan?
Yeah.
So 2 years later, North Korea handed over Megumi's ashes to her family. So, I mean, it's all a bit bizarre, like how they still had her ashes. Her family had kept Megumi's umbilical cord because apparently that's a Japanese tradition. I didn't know this.
Yeah.
So they got the ashes tested for DNA and the
gosh.
tests came back. They didn't match. But
Oh my gosh. I
But
didn't
the
know you
sci-
could
I know.
test ashes.
I know. I
the
think
heck?
you get like bone and stuff in it, I think, because not
Wow.
everything burns. But the scientists said that the ashes could have been contaminated.
Right.
On the 15th of October 2002, the 5 living abductees were allowed to return to Japan. Wow. This is really bizarre. They were allowed to return to Japan for 7 to 10 days.
What?
So North Korea said, yeah, we've kidnapped them. They are officially kidnapped. They're allowed to go and visit their family for a week, and then they have to come back.
What?
What the heck,
they
man?
never went back. As soon as they came to Japan, they never went back to North Korea. I mean, it's so
so they
bizarre.
managed to stay because
Of
obviously
course,
how
yeah,
they
like,
went
weren't
to
gonna hand them
illegal,
back.
and the police.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. It
no.
doesn't. Like, what did they expect? They were just going to come back. I don't really
That's so
understand.
weird.
Yeah, that is insane. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that they made it out and they got home.
I
I'm
know,
so
but
glad.
imagine all that time, but it was the mystery. Like for 20 years, no one knew where had they gone.
And it's not what you expect for it to be some government conspiracy. That is crazy.
Yeah.
Like at the beginning, I was thinking, a serial killer, and then it's the government. It's mad.
But it just shows you, really, anything is kind of possible, and sometimes the things you just would not think it actually is what's happened. Like, yeah, that's really scary. It's horrible.
Yeah, and that spy who kidnapped Megumi, was it?
Yeah.
Megumi? When he saw her, what made him think, a 13-year-old girl, she'd
Probably
be
just
good?
someone
like,
easy to
Well, no,
kidnap.
She's
So,
13 years old.
Like according to the article, and I should actually say it was a BBC article. It was by Rebecca Sealas. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, and Hideharu Tamura. So anyway, it's a BBC.
Accent.
Yes.
Do you want me to say
Showing
that again?
knew he'd managed to find a way to put that in there somewhere.
I read that whole article in Japanese.
Yeah.
So in the article, it says that the spies were about to leave, and then she saw them. And because she saw them, they had to take her, or something like this.
But how would she know?
She was tall for her age, and at the time, she looked like she might have been a young adult. So they didn't mean to kidnap a. But I don't
how
really
would
know.
she know that they were spies?
Well, the thing is, I mean, what are we going to do now? We're going to listen to the words of a North Korean spy, like
exactly.
It could just
They
be
could say
completely made up.
Maybe
Yeah,
she
so I
just
don't
was
know.
on her own, and they thought that's easy pickings. We can quickly grab her off the
It
street.
was a
It could be
4-minute
anything.
walk home. It was
Yeah,
a
it's
4-minute walk
awful.
home.
It's devastating.
Yeah, that's what's so scary.
Yeah,
It's 4
so
minutes.
close to
like you do
home.
not. You think your child will be safe with 4 minutes.
Yeah,
walk.
yeah.
That's so terrifying. But yeah, that was a really good
Really
story.
interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it's good to learn about these things, you know.
Well, I didn't know this, but I gather actually it's quite a big story.
Yeah,
I had
I
never
can
heard
imagine.
it before, but I imagine people listening might know it. But
Yeah, I haven't heard it.
That's the first time I'd heard of it.
It's so interesting to sort of government conspiracies and stuff, and that is scary. The fact that it was 4 minutes is terrifying.
I did try to retell the story in a way where you wouldn't know it would be North Korea
Yeah.
until
No, I didn't know.
I had to reveal it.
Yeah, no, that was a real twist. Yeah, I really enjoyed the stories this week. They were all so different and yeah, really interesting.
Well,
so it was great,
also
guys.
it turns out that my story last week about the coffee in the church, that was North Korea too. So
yeah, Bex.
not really. I should.
Luckily, I changed my story because I was going to do one.
Yeah.
Very similar to yours. So it's a good thing.
That is lucky.
Yeah, it's a good thing I thought, no, I'll do the ghost story.
It's difficult because I like to be surprised by your stories, but then, what if we do ones the same? So we need to decide whether we tell each other or not, but...
Yeah, I mean, we'll just telling each other the general gist, I think, is absolutely fine. That won't ruin anything, and it just makes sure they're all quite nice and varied, which they were this week.
Yeah, which is good for the listeners.
Yeah, I really enjoyed those stories, guys. I mean, they were really sad and not nice, but I mean, it's really interesting.
Just so the listeners know, we don't know each other's stories beforehand. I mean, unless Ali tells a story Bex has heard, and then
but we kind of sometimes say the sort of genre of our story just to make sure we don't double up or whatever, because there's 3 of us, it could happen.
All right, another week done.
Yeah, another week done.
And if you have listened this far, thank you so much for getting to the end. We appreciate you more than you know.
Yeah, we really appreciate you for listening to us. We really hope you've enjoyed. And we'd love to hear your feedback.
We should maybe start a Twitter page or Facebook page or something people are able to contact us.
That would be great.
If people have particular stories they want to hear and want us to tell, it means that they can let us know. So we'll give you an update on that next week if we manage to sort something out.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and also what's interesting is that as the episodes go on, podcasts, you'd expect more listeners, but in our case, it could just be dropping out, and you listening right now might officially be our last listener. So
you could be the only
thank you so much.
We love you, whoever you are.
Thank you so much for making it this far.
Thank you so much for supporting us.
Let us know.
One listener is better than none. And you're all appreciated. And
if we make one of you happy,
we're happy. And we hope you all have a really good week. And we look forward to seeing you back around the campfire next week.
Oh, nice one. Very nice.
Bye, everyone.
Well, goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye. Bye.
See ya. Bye.